Hipgnosis was in existence for about 15 years, between 1968 to about 1983. During that period of time, we did a lot of album covers for some of the biggest bands at the time: Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Paul McCartney, Bad Company, Genesis, Peter Gabriel, Yes. Dom and I wanted to make a book which would be partly illustrative of all the work and partly written. He would write more about the art, about the construction of the work, about the ideas behind it. I, on the other hand, wanted to write more about the cultural side of it, in terms of how it fitted into what was going on at the time, our relationship to the bands themselves, or talk about the humorous moments that we'd had in anecdotes, of which there were many. House of the Holy, Led Zeppelin. Jimmy Page called up the studio and he said, "I've seen an album cover that I like. Did you do it?" It was Wishbone Ash, Argus. He said, "I'd really like you to do the next Led Zeppelin album cover." I said, "Can I hear the music?" He said, "Nope." I said, "Do you have a title?" He said, "No." So I said, "Is there anything I can go on at all?" He said, "Nope." He said, "Just come up with some ideas and I need to see them in a couple of weeks' time." I told them two things we'd come up with. One was an image from Arthur C. Clarke's book, Childhood's End. And in the end of the book, all the children on the earth all go up into this great fiery ball into the sky. The second idea was to go to the plain of Nazca in Peru, where there are these amazing shapes which you can only see from the air. And we wanted to go there and dig into the desert the word Zozo, which was the Led Zeppelin logo. The band said, "We like both ideas, do whichever one you like." I said, "What's the budget?" He said, "Whatever it costs, just get on with it." Storm and I decided that the children going off the end of the earth was probably a more safe bet than trying to dig up the plains of Nazca. So everything was organised: children, chaperones, makeup artists, camera assistants, everything. And I set off to Northern Ireland. When I got there, it poured with rain for a week straight. The whole thing turned out to be an absolute fucking nightmare. I finally realised that what I was trying to do was not going to work. So I took the two children, put them on the rocks, shot it in black and white, and I realised that we could collage the images together because the rocks were octagonal. And so we made up this image out of just two children. We processed the film, we made the collage, and then we rephotographed that and had it all hand tinted. I phoned them up and said it's done. And Peter Grant, the manager, said, "Well, meet us at Victoria Station and we'll have a look at it there." So I drove there in my little mini car that I had, opened up the trunk, and there it was, and there they were standing. And in those days, of course, somebody like Jimmy Page stood out a mile away. I mean, the guy was dressed all in velvets. I mean, he looked like a fantasy world standing in the middle of a kind of rather grey and dull Victorian station. And there's me with the artwork in the back of in the trunk of the car. Well, a crowd gathered round, about 200 people. And anyway, Jimmy loved it, said it's fantastic, man. I showed him the inside cover, loved it, absolutely fantastic. That's it. Off they walked down the station platform, and I got a round of applause from the crowd. It was very memorable. Sometimes out of chaos comes, good stuff. And that's what this book is all about.